This is Talk the Home of Common Sense. Me, Julia Hartley-Brewer. 12:50 is the time. Right, let's talk about the Online Safety Act. Since it's come into force, we have seen something like 4 out of 5 of apps that are being downloaded are for VPNs. What are they? Well, they're virtual private networks. It enables you to disguise your identity and your location to access anything you want online. That's been blamed on the Online Safety Act, basically requiring ID, verification of your age, for you to see online pornography on all the major sites. Well, earlier today, Peter Kyle, the Science and Technology Secretary, said that anyone who's opposing Online Safety Act, crucially, he named Nigel Farage, was basically siding with the likes of Jimmy Savile, because perpetrators like him would have been online if the world had been in different tech times. Let's talk about this with Matthew Feeney. He's advocacy manager at Big Brother Watch, who keep an eye on basically protecting our civil liberties in the face of tech and government. Good afternoon to you, Matthew.
Good afternoon.
I'm here to say we've got these extraordinary words from Peter Kyle, but I mean, you guys are opposed to the Online Safety Act. I'm opposed to the Online Safety Act. I think an awful lot of our audience would be. Does that mean we're siding with a prolific paedophile rapist like Jimmy Savile?
It absolutely does not. This is like saying that those who oppose the Patriot Act or the Investigatory Powers Act are on the same side as Al-Qaeda. Public safety has long been an excuse that governments use to clamp down on civil liberties all over the place. And this is a very tired and well-worn playbook where those who stand up for civil liberties are equated with criminals. But standing up for civil liberties that have been hard fought is not the same thing as standing up for some of the worst people in society.
Well, indeed. And this, in terms of what this Online Safety Act does, again, these things are often couched as, look, we're going to protect children. We want to protect children. I'm a mum. I don't want any child seeing not just porn at all, but particularly the sort of porn that is freely available. Forget the dark web. They don't need to go to the dark web. Rape, violence, strangulation, incest, slapping. Really, really nasty stuff that is 3 clicks away for any adult or child. I would like children to be protected from that. I'd rather like adults not to be looking at that stuff, frankly, in terms of how it can warp people's brains and expectations and treatment of women and children and the like. But is the answer age verification or not?
No, it absolutely is not, and that's for a number of reasons. I mean, one is it's unclear that this will actually keep children safe because they can easily access VPNs or be pushed into the dark web.
And they're better at getting VPNs than their own parents, aren't they, usually?
Yes, oftentimes that's true. Secondly, it's unclear to me that this will actually help us mitigate the harms that you just outlined because the law completely ignores the context of a lot of harmful content. So teenagers who are interested in finding out about the harms of pornography, or it's not just about porn, also suicide, mental health, alcohol problems, are going to be prevented from accessing helpful information about that sort of stuff online. And this is particularly strange at a time when the government is advocating that 16-year-olds should be given the right to vote.
Yes.
And so we're in a strange situation where people will be able to vote in general elections, but be unable to look for help about an alcoholic relative or their own suicidal ideation. It's all very strange.
And that's been the trouble with sort of any kind of censorship, hasn't it? We had this during lockdown. We had our YouTube channel taken down 3 times. We were told for disinformation. It got put back up again only because of the might of the organisation we're employed by. But otherwise, we would have lost, as many people did, their social media and their ability to put themselves online. Even though what I was having conversations with medical and scientific professionals, having nuanced debates about relative risk of the virus, and yet that was called disinformation. An awful lot of the information that was suppressed during that period has turned out, by the way, to be completely and utterly true. And a lot of the things that were put out by the governments, America, Britain and elsewhere, were found to be not only found later to be untrue, but they knew at the time were untrue, whether or not the Wuhan lab had been responsible for the virus and things like that. And so when we're told we have to control what people can see and what people can say online, and this affects social media as well. We've seen protests outside the Bell Hotel in Epping. Some of the images from that have been unavailable to people online because it falls foul of these rules. Often it means that people are simply not allowed to get the full picture of the debate that needs to happen.
Well, that's absolutely right. And we should be in no doubt that there will be tons and tons of commentary that has nothing to do with violence, nothing to do with pornography, nothing to do with animal abuse that will be taken down because platforms do not want to face 10% fines of global revenue and will embrace the false positives and take down troves and troves of valuable content. And as you correctly pointed out, the online commentary is nuanced. It's very, very rare to find a piece of content that is evil or terrible just by definition of existing. People who want to comment on it, people who want to conduct journalistic investigations into it will all suffer because of laws like the Online Safety Act.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you mentioned those fines. There is a big issue in terms of, I mean, social media companies pushing algorithms and even, you know, some of the big search engines as well, pushing algorithms which have pushed people who've expressed an interest in one thing. Look, we find it, you know, you search for a sofa online, suddenly you're inundated with adverts for sofas. They're checking what you do. But we've seen, you know, young girls being pushed towards, you know, anorexia sites, suicide sites, and being directed and seeing more and more of that imagery. And we see that again in the pornography as well. This is happening. But the social media companies, this isn't happening by accident. They have designed the algorithms to do that.
Well, there is obviously a lot of competition among social media for people's attention, and every minute you're on TikTok is a minute you're not on Twitter or somewhere else. And we should expect that these companies trying to attract people's attention. And if there might be concerns about that, the answer isn't necessarily to reach for the blunt arm of the state to intervene. One of the most distressing things about this entire debate, it seems to me, is that very few lawmakers seem to think there are any institutions between the individual and the state. Educational charities, media, academia, the family, all these institutions that exist between us and the government have been ignored, and the government has chucked out new ones and embraced this very blunt approach.
Yeah, indeed. Really good to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining us, Matthew Feeney. He's advocacy manager at Big Brother Watch. Tom Slater, editor of Spiked Online. Look, I mean, Big Brother Watch played a really crucial role in trying to keep freedom of speech alive, stopping censorship during lockdown, and they've been playing a really good role on this. You guys at Spiked Online as well. A lot of times we're told something's about protecting the kids, so it must be a good thing.
No, absolutely. The problem is that it infantilises all of us, doesn't it? It ends up leading to an internet that is just, by default, kind of on the child settings. And also, to be honest, a lot of what the government has claimed about this is only about protecting children. Even just trying to make social media companies kind of proactively go after illegal content always leads to them over-censoring. We've seen that in any other country it's been tried, and I just don't know why they're
except they don't take down
around
the child pornography that's online, which they've got, you know, a handful of people dealing with that, but they're censoring our freedom of speech in other areas. It's a really difficult conundrum. And again, I often speak about, you know, not just as a journalist and sort of someone who believes in freedom of speech, but not a complete libertarian on that issue. I do want some controls on what certainly children are seeing, but I don't know what the balance is. But Richard Tice suggested earlier there are, you know, these protections. Okay, we need parents to do their job a little bit better in the future, but most parents haven't got a clue. I mean, if you want someone to mend your phone and sort something out, you know, or get VPN, you ask your 12-year-old to do it because they're better at it. Ian Collins, you have all of this. You've got the kids. What would you make of that battle over the Online Safety Act?
I mean, the point, and Tom was just touching on it there, they could, social media companies could take this stuff down, but they won't take the risk, because if they get it wrong, they're going to get fined each time, etc. So it's easier for them, like Apple did with their kind of security thing. They didn't argue it really. They just kind of said, okay, the government have told us to not allow this encryption, because it's the point of least resistance.
Absolutely.
As far as
I know you were discussing on the show
but as
yesterday.
Tom said, infantilises all of us. So we now have to pass child safety checks.